Yeah.
So, what's the move? What are we talking about here today?
So today we're talking about the greatest album ever made.
An astral beast. Got me all excited. Thought I was gonna get to see a goat. Astral beast, come to me!
Edward Elric, State Alchemist at large!
Astral beast, where are you?
Nothing less from the commander of the Hawks Raiders.
So, which one of you is Goku?
This is it!
A testicle devil appeared and went apeshit on his nutsack, ma'am.
He's lying. He made that entire thing up.
The astral beast cometh.
2006. This band that spawned from a catastrophe known as 9/11. They decided, you know what, we're gonna make the greatest thing that's ever been created ever. And it came out at the perfect time for me, because I was just a boy, a little lad.
Yeah.
I had I listen to a lot of music because you listen to a lot of music, but I don't have like a full album in my head at this point. Like, I've listened to like single songs that were downloaded
On LimeWire, legally.
on illegally on through LimeWire, FBI. Legal. So it's like I have like individual songs that like are going crazy, and then like Dad's fucking bootleg CD mixtapes with
Yeah.
like every song that's ever came out ever on one CD
Yeah.
on shuffle.
In the Cadillac with the 18s in the
Yeah,
back.
yeah, and you can't hear a word.
Yeah, there's
Listening to
what is it? Tenor or not tenor?
it's only subs and
Yeah.
no squeaker or squeaker.
Tweakers.
Yeah, it's just that's all you hear.
Yeah.
And then I think the first time I remember really listening to this album, I don't know how old I was, but
I can see this whole memory of when I first heard this
Yeah.
album. I'm very excited to talk about.
for me it was in I think Candace's car, but I don't know if Candace was old enough to drive when this happened.
I don't know. Candace had the Eclipse.
Yeah, and how much older than you was Candace? 2 years
2 or
older?
3 years. I honestly get it mixed up.
So I would have been 8 when I experienced it in the car then. So yeah, I think that's about right. But before that, we were listening to it on just like a random speaker CD player, like purple. I think it was
Yeah.
like purple or something.
Yeah,
It's like that.
I can see it. It was like flat.
Yeah. So listen to that, and that's like when I remember listening the first time, and I was like, "This is awesome." But I remember in the car, that was when I realized I was like, "Okay,
I have the
I mean-
first memory. I had to write it down so I could say it right of when
Yeah.
I first listened to this album. It was we were at Grammy's for Thanksgiving. Crystal brought the mac and cheese that she made. It was like the first time I had real ass baked mac and cheese. And Grammy, you stayed at the house. Grammy took me and Candace. We went to Target to get some stuff for Thanksgiving. I remember specifically the canned sweet or the cranberries, like where you dump it, the can, and it
Yeah.
is still like in a Jello can shape.
Yellow."
I can like vividly see that. And we went to Target. Candace and I went to the music section, and Grammy was like, "You guys can get 3 CDs." And I have the 3 CDs that we got written down. We got Count Your Blessings by Bring Me the Horizon, which came out October 30th, 2006. We got
It's a banger.
Atreyu, Death Grip on Reality, which came out March 28th, 2006, which had X's and O's on it. And then we got The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, which just came out October 23rd that year.
That's a nuts combo. That's like
Yeah.
an all time trio.
And that defined who I would be
Sure.
for the rest of my life.
It's
Honestly,
actually that's it. The juxtaposition between the
Yeah.
Count Your Blessings to Bring Me the Horizon or to Black Parade
yeah.
is so funny.
That was my introduction to Bring Me the Horizon, and
Yeah.
I honestly didn't really like them until Suicide Season, the next album.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I heard them. And I think Candace had already had some other CDs, because I know she had Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, self-titled one. She had the Fall Out Boy album with Arms Race and Thanks for the Memories. The good one, the best Fall Out Boy album. And we were just like in the back seat of Grammy's red Mustang, sharing the gummy headphones, listening to these. Way too young. I was only 11. Candace was 13, 14 maybe.
Like, my thought is like, I'm trying to think what album you listened to first. What was the first one you listened to?
Atreyu. Because
Okay.
that album had the sleeve on it with the puppy, and you would pull the sleeve off, and the puppy would like the head would split open. It was very metal.
I was like, I'm thinking about it because, Bring the Horizon's like the other big band that like you showed me I got really into because like I just grew up listening to them because of you.
Yeah,
And
they're my all-time favorite band.
yeah, thinking of Count Your Blessings like as like at 11 years old,
It was
like
kind
thinking
of
about
too
hearing
heavy.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like Bright Fire.
yeah. It was a little too heavy for my little virgin ears. I gotta admit.
Okay, calm down, buddy.
Yeah,
Calm down.
but I really latched
And
on
the-
to the Black Parade super hard, and it
Yeah.
just became who I became.
Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, gummy headphones in the back of that car, listening to Black Parade,
Yeah.
and then you were like, "This is the best thing I've ever heard in my life."
Yeah.
I
Because
think
we had
that's
done a
exactly-
bunch of errands. I remember we went to like that Walgreens that's like across the street from their house, kind of.
Yeah.
And like Grammy was in there for like an hour waiting on like a prescription or something. So we listened to like the whole album. I
Yeah.
can like see it. Candace, we're gonna bring you on sometime, and you gotta verify
Yeah.
this memory. Candace
There
has
was,
shown me so much shit. Because then the
Yeah.
next time I saw Candace was when she had an iPod where she had unlimited amount of shit to show me. She showed me like Nintendo Core and like all this other crazy shit. I set my friends
Yeah.
on fire. I remember listening to Things That Rhyme with Orange for the first time.
Hell yeah. There was so for my like experience with this album, remember I listened to it always when I was hanging out with you and Candace, growing up, whatever. And then you left and I didn't listen to the album for 8 years. I didn't listen to this album for 8 years, like straight. And like the first year I was like, I just don't want to listen to it, it makes me sad right now. I don't want to listen to this album right now. Right? And then I was driving to Toronto with my friend KJ, and she's like, "What do you know about this, huh? What you know about
Yeah.
this?" And started playing Sleep.
Yeah.
And
That's
it-
my
and it
favorite
was-
song.
You know how in Ratatouille when he eats a bite
Oh, and
of
the
food?
memories.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like that, and I just like a single tear came out of my eye. I was like, "Oh, I forgot about you.
Yeah.
How could I forget?" And then since that day, I've listened to the Black Parade.
I'd say I
At
listen to
least-
it once a month at the
Well,
least.
at least once a month, and I
Yeah.
listen to it in its entirety at least 3 times. That one time I do it, so
On-
it's like
Yeah.
it's so good. And my friends and my friends that I talk to like all the time about music and all that stuff, they know how I feel about this album,
Yeah.
like specifically about this album and how much I ride for it. And they're like, "Yeah, it's really good, AJ. We know." And I'm like,
Yeah. No,
"No,
you don't.
you
don't know
don't
shit."
know. You don't know anything about this.
I don't
You
even
know what
have
this-
any of the songs on it on my liked songs because I will listen to the whole album like it's one
yeah
thing.
Yeah. And I listen to albums like I don't make playlists anymore. I don't edit that much.
Yeah.
And I don't really like songs anyway, so I just listen to full albums usually. And
I was hoping that
But-
we could get you to make some playlists sometime. I think that could be cool.
I could. I'm good. I'm good at making the playlist.
You
I
are.
can make a good
I know,
playlist. I just
yeah.
don't like doing it for myself anymore.
Your
'cause I'm
future
like, well,
one goes crazy. Future's greatest
Yeah.
hits, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. And I like making them. It's actually the future playlist is the only playlist I really use.
I use your future
As a-
playlist like once a week that I go to the gym.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
shuffle on it, and it's all good.
But yeah, I think the feature playlist is the only playlist I actually used that I've made recently. That one, and I have a Kanye playlist, but I don't use the Kanye. I don't listen to
I
Kanye like
can't
that. I just
listen to
made it.
Kanye anymore,
Yeah, but
unfortunately.
yeah. So I listen to this album like when I do, I'll listen to the album 3 times in a row
Yeah.
without stopping or skipping a song.
This week I've
And
listened
then
to this album so many times. I just listened to The Black Parade is Dead, the live album from
yeah,
Mexico City, which I can't imagine because that was right before Dios de los Muertes. Like that album playing 2007, Day of the Dead, Mexico City, man.
man.
I'm not even Mexican and I can't imagine those vibes. It would be fucking
They had to let you
insane,
know.
you know?
Yeah, I was like, this is just the greatest thing ever. So my friends know how I feel about the album. Like, you don't get it, you don't get it. And every time I talk about it, because most of the time I talk about like hip hop and stuff. Like when I talk about music, it's because I listen to like majority hip hop.
Yeah.
And I know the most about that genre, I guess. But like, I think it surprises people that like the other part of like my bag
Yeah.
is like is like emo music from the 2000s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like this is this and this, they're the same thing to me. Like I care
Yeah.
just as much about these things as the other ones. And then I'm like, but nothing else matters, because if I had to go onto an island, like my Desert Island album
Yeah.
would be Black Parade. If I had to get three, it'd be like Black Parade, Blonde, and Pretty Girls Like Trap Music by 2 Chainz.
Ooh,
Like,
that's a solid contender for me too. I gotta,
yeah, that would be my three, right?
yeah,
And Blonde, I think everyone understands, is like an all-time great album.
yeah.
And the Black Parade is like, if you know, you know, like it's one of them ones. But Pretty Girls Like Trap Music,
That
they
whole
don't get it.
album is just so
It's so good.
listenable. It's like
It's
such
so
a.
good.
That's like
Yeah.
a big reason why I just haven't really been listening to rap these past couple of years. Honestly, it's like just the listenability is missing in a lot of artists. But
Yeah.
Pretty Girls Like Trap Music is completely just so good. Like it's enjoyable to listen to. Like I did like GNX when it came out,
Yeah.
but I just can't listen to it all the time. Same with
Yeah.
Big Steppers. I just can't listen to that album. Like I just feel like I'm being
Yeah.
lectured about how I'm not shit. You know, like
like, you're not shit and I can't help you. It's the whole
Yeah.
album. But yeah, so then the Black Parade specifically is the album I would always take over both, even though like Blonde is my favorite album.
I'm surprised
like
to hear
Frank
you
Ocean-
say that. Honestly,
Really, like, I take Black Parade over Blonde.
yeah.
I got them both on vinyl because
You only
Gabe
saved
got
one.
me Black. Yeah, I know.
They're both
Gabe
on
got
fire.
me-
You're only grabbing Black Parade. That's crazy.
They're both on fire. Might take Blonde. Not gonna lie, Blonde doesn't press as much. I can get a second Black Parade. Blonde's $200.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, but if it was like I could only keep one forever, it'd be a real conversation I'd have to have for myself. I would be like, hey, Fire, can we take a 15-minute?
They're both on
Recess.
fire metaphorically as well as physically.
Yeah,
They're always on
it's
fire.
me asking the judge to take a 5-minute recess while the house is on fire.
Yeah, I got to think
God,
about this.
I got to think about this. I'm so sorry. Let me just. I start walking. I walk around like Charlie Brown to the Christmas song. Like,
Yeah, like Arrested
kicking
Development.
rocks.
Yeah.
writing down pros and cons lists, and there's no cons written for either album.
Right. Well, let's jump back into the topic of today.
Yeah.
The Black Parade is the third album by My Chemical Romance, and after the success of Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, the band had set the bar pretty high. Gerard Way came up with the idea to make their next record a concept album. A bit of backstory on Gerard is him and his brother Mikey Way, who plays bass in My Chemical Romance. Gerard Way was born April 9th, 1977, almost said 97, in Summit, New Jersey. Summit is sort of in between like Newark and nothingness of New Jersey. It's in between the city where it's really dangerous and in between like the suburbs. At age 15, Gerard Way was held up at gunpoint, which left him with a new outlook on life. He's quoted as saying, "No matter how ugly the world gets or how stupid it shows me it is, I always have faith in it," which is kind of a crazy takeaway from being robbed, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's different.
He's just built different. After high school, he pursued a career in the comic book industry, attending the School of Visual Arts in New York City, graduating with a bachelor's degree in fine arts in 1999, which you gotta kind of remember this perspective. He's kind of old.
Yeah,
Not like old, but he's
like yeah, he's not young.
22 graduating college. He was working as an intern for Cartoon Network in New York City when he witnessed the horrors of 9/11, which this trauma gave him another outlook where he said, "Fuck art, I've got to get out of the basement, I've got to see the world, and I've got to make a difference." So after saying fuck art, he decides to make art by starting a band.
Starting a band.
Which,
Yeah.
Okay. The first song ever written for My Chemical Romance was Skylines and Turnstiles. It's kind of funny. After what he saw in 9/11. But skipping ahead a bit, since this is just about the Black Parade and not just My Chemical Romance as a whole band history, But recording for the Black Parade took place from April to August 2006 in the Paramore Mansion, which has been famously known to be haunted by the ghost of Daisy Moreno, the wife of Antonio Moreno, who was a popular film star, silent film star. In February 1933, I didn't really write this down, but I remember from researching it, they had recently split up. They hadn't finalized the divorce or anything. But she was killed when her car went over a cliff on Mulholland Drive, and she was thrown from the vehicle, and her best friend who was driving it said neither of them had been drinking at the party that they were leaving, so she thought that foul play might have been involved, and it's believed that her ghost haunts the Paramore Mansion. But during the recording process, the band had many paranormal encounters that, for the most part, they just refused to say specifically what happened, other than the quote from the re-release vinyl of, "Right away it felt like this place was going to consume you, and eventually it would. There were so many hallways that seemed to lead somewhere very dark, stairways that led to places that were very cold. The whole place was cold. The whole place seemed haunted. We figured this would work for us, and we all drew numbers to see who got which room, and it almost seemed like the house chose which one we got, because every room really seemed to fit each guy, except Mikey. His room was terrifying to be in, and I couldn't exactly tell you why. It just had a vibe to it, and that's definitely what would happen if you and me were to stay in a haunted house. You would definitely end up with the most haunted room you could. But the next day, our gear arrived, and we set up. You could tell no one had slept very well on account of the cold or the fact that you always felt like someone was watching you. Mikey actually had to leave the band after the recording finished to check into a rehab to get help with his depression that he got from whatever happened during their roughly 6 months in this haunted house. Gerard Way developed night terrors during the recording process, and he recorded himself talking about them with someone, which he used for the intro to Sleep on the record. During the recording process, when telling the company the plan of making a concept album, following the success of 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, the execs were like, "That's a horrible idea to do an album like that when you just had so much success on this emo, post-punk, alternative album you just had." But the band stuck to their guns and made probably the most important album of the past 20 years, if not to say for sure of my own personal life. The marching band costumes were made by Colleen Atwood, who made all of the Tim Burton costumes from Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Sweeney Todd, basically everything after Tim Burton had done Batman. But when they did the tour for the album, the promoter would come on and be like, "Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that My Chemical Romance will not be playing tonight," which everyone would get pissed and start throwing their beers or whatever and walking out until they followed up with, "In their place, we present to you the Black Parade, and then the band would come on stage and everyone would lose their fucking minds.
Peak.
Peak.
Every single time. Every single time.
Every
Every
time.
single time. You're getting
Never
goosebumps
miss
just
it.
thinking about being there. Man, come on. Come on. Also, I think that like the concept of like the whole committing to this bit of the Black Parade might be like the biggest success from MCR.
Yeah.
I think that like I don't think of MCR as anybody but in this costume. When I think about
Yeah.
them like personally, I think most people who
This or the Helena music video.
yeah, and like I think that like my brain when I think I'm like My Chemical Romance like visually is like an MTV clip of the Black Parade music video where
Yeah.
like Gerard's like screaming into the screen.
Yeah, I really see the
Um,
famous last words video whenever I think of them. But I remember watching them on AOL before YouTube. Like YouTube was around, and I'm positive the music videos were probably on YouTube. But I remember using AOL to watch them because I'm so old.
Back in my day,
Back in my
I
day,
don't- it's the messenger. The
we didn't have
CCTV
Discord. We had
like-
AIM,
oh my god.
and my status was I'm not okay.
The making of the album, I think that's you kind of got it all. And as far as like I saw too, was just
Yeah.
like they were like, we're doing this, and they were like, no, we don't want you to do that. Please don't.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, do you know who I am? do you know what we do? Come on, lock
Yeah,
in.
and they kind of changed their style from being like, you know, the alternative style that they were to being more like Queen and David Bowie inspired, and
Yeah. Yeah. And it worked. I think it worked. I think it worked obviously incredibly well. It's
yeah,
one of my favorite albums, if not like one or two ever. So like I love this album. I love the full like it's just a beautiful project that they were able to make. And I think that but I didn't know about like the turmoil that came from making this project, not just because
haunted
of
house that they
yeah,
lived
not
in.
just like the I think another part of it is not just like there was they were doing this in this decrepit haunted building, but
Yeah,
just the con like the actual concept of the album and how dark it was in terms of like the themes of the album. Like they're not like dark in the way where it's like oh I'm just so whatever, but it's like it's dealing with reliving a life. Like that is the whole album. It's just, hey man, like this is what we think death feels like.
yeah,
And you're in this place where death's all around you. Like you feel being around death every day you wake up, and then you go and you make an album about the feeling of death,
yeah.
but it's not like some sort of grimy, hard, like
I know.
Ah,
Towards the
album,
end
it's
of
like-
recording Three Cheers, their grandma died, Elena. Her name was
Yeah.
Elena, not Helena, and that I feel like really messed
Yeah.
the boys up.
So it's like it's one of those things where you go in and it turns this like what could have been a therapeutic expression of an album into just like Heath Ledger locking himself in a room to get ready for the Joker.
Yeah, but it's a haunted
Kinda.
house.
Yeah, and you're in like and if you're Mikey in this case, it's like everyone else is like, yeah, this is pretty fucking cool, like and then you're seeing fucking the Exorcist girl do backflips above your head and
Yeah,
throw up all over you, and you're like, dude, what the
I
hell?
gotta leave. I'm done.
And then you gotta go play bass for fucking. You gotta go play
Yeah,
bass for 6
Their
hours.
tour after, like their release tour was 183 shows, which is
Yeah.
insane. I got a whole thing here, man. I got a whole story
The
for
breakdown
you.
of the story.
If you are ready.
We can. Yeah, we can. You're starting at the first song, or are you starting at the beginning of the story?
I have the story.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll follow the your story.
Okay.
I was gonna go through the track list, but I think it makes more sense to follow the actual story that's being
It's pretty pretty close.
Mhm.
But the all right. So the concept of the album follows the character, the patient.
The patient.
He's like just a guy. He's
Mhm.
dying. It's presumed he's dying of cancer, but it's never really said, and they don't ever say his name. Are you ready?
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So the first track on the story order is The End. This sets up the plot with the heart rate monitor in the background. This story follows two characters, both played by Gerard Way. The main character is explaining what you're about to witness as a dying cancer patient, talking about how he feels as he's dying, and toward the end, the other character is introduced, immediately cutting off the patient. This character is Death, and he is track 2, Dead. This is Death's first song on the album, and a good indicator of who you're about to listen to is the tone. The Patient's songs start out kind of acoustic or soft, and Death, whenever his songs start, are always metal or paradey, like really heavy. He has a lot of showmanship and bombast. In track 2, Death is sort of poking fun at what the patient is about to go through. In the end, the patient is, now come one, come all, and he's to this tragic affair, and he's all feeling in his emotions and whatever.
Yeah.
Death in the song Dead is literally like, yeah, you're dead, too bad, so sad, being dead is awesome, and we're about to have so much fun together, and here's why. That's the whole point of Dead.
Yeah.
Track 3 is Teenagers, and this song is to set up the life of the patient. He spent most of his life angry and full of angst. Gerard Way was 29 when this album was made, which I always thought he was like 21 until I looked into this, maybe like 22.
I thought he was like young. I always thought he
Yeah.
was like 20 something.
Especially with the song like Teenagers, but it's more about the feeling of being a teenager, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I have in my notes like, I thought he was really young, but he's really hot, so of course, like, it just works.
Yeah.
Like, he just looks
You're
good.
like, yeah, I guess so.
I guess he's 29.
I was 6 years old when I came out, so it was
Yeah.
like a teenager to me. Anyone from age like
Yeah.
16 to 32 in my mind when this album came out was the same age. So
Right.
like, yeah, that's a teenager.
But even in your 20s, still being full of angst and full of hate and rebellion, when Death gives his perspective immediately following this life's analysis on track 4, The Sharpest Lives. Death is pointing out how people live these dangerous lives and throw it away just for the sake of having fun in the moment instead of appreciating what little time they have in their life. I also believe this is a lot of one-sided conversation. I think Death can hear the patient, but the patient not being dead yet either fades in and out of the Black Parade, or just never hears the Black Parade at all. So Death is berating the patient for being a dick all his life, but he doesn't care because it's been fun to watch leading into track 5, which is Cancer. And before I get into this, I just want to say, one night when I was doing staging and I was driving a stage back at like 4 in the morning, I was listening to just the public radio in Chicago, and they played someone's fucking dubstep remix of this song, and you're a fucking idiot, and you need to take that off of SoundCloud because you're a fucking loser. That's so weird to make a dubstep remix of a song called Cancer off the fucking greatest album of all time, you little dickhead. You fucking weirdo.
Sisters in my bruh.
When I was in the 3rd grade, I thought I was gay. Gay. I had a dream. All right.
I just want to know, like, it's such a funny, like,
Fucking weirdo. But
oh man, it's also something I would do as a joke.
anyway, this song is a look into the life of somebody who's accepting the terminal impending death that's coming from their cancer. The patient was an angry person all his life, and now he has to accept that he's going to die and what he's leaving behind, mostly his loved ones, and saying goodbye to them. Sort of like a warranted pity party, which Death does not feel pity for, and he shows this in track 6, House of Wolves. Death,
A banger.
Yeah,
Fucking
it's a
banger.
baller ass song. I think of like Bonnie and Clyde, Tommy Gunn's old
Yeah,
Model
it's
T
so
cars.
good.
Yeah, robbing banks and shit. Yeah,
It's
I
just
wish we
fucking.
could play the music on this podcast, but
I
we'll get
I
the
just like,
episode taken
yeah.
down immediately. Unfortunately.
In my brain when I listen to this song, I think of um like yeah, no, he's like sitting there, he's like, man, this is the worst. Like I'm
Yeah,
dying. No one cares, like no one loves me. And then here comes this little asshole just fucking doing the Charleston.
yeah,
He's da da da
in
da
like a
da da.
pin up suit or a pinstripe suit
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, he's just like dancing. He's like,
Yeah.
this is the best day of my life. I love this.
Um, but on this track, House of Wolves, Death is straight up mocking and bullying the patient for this remorse expressed in the last song. He's talking about the judgment they're about to face, talking about how being a good boy, being a bad boy, how useless it even is to be religious about dying, because it's not what you think, so grow up, quit being a little bitch, and join the Black Parade. Even throwing out the letters SIN, SIN to mock the patient for being a dick his whole life, and only just now being said that he's found out he's going to die from cancer, which won't save him from damnation. Track 7 is I Don't Love You. And this song is sort of ambiguous in the interpretations that people have got, because I've looked into it. People say it's one way or the other. In my opinion, this song is about the patient lashing out towards his partner to create space so it'll be easier when the patient passes away and they won't have to care. The patient knows when they die, they will be alone, even if they weren't actually alone in life. Some people think it's the opposite, though. They think it's their partner leaving the patient because they're like, hey, I don't want to be with someone who's about to die. But I really don't see that perspective. And I really think this album only has two voices, Death and the patient. What do you think on that?
Yeah.
I
always
don't
thought
see the
it
I don't see
was
the partner leaving them. I think it's
I always thought of this song for me as like I always thought this was a third voice. I thought it was the partner leaving. But in
yeah.
my mind it wasn't even like the partner's leaving. It was like witnessing how cynical and nihilistic the patient's been through the story so far, being like, you're dying, you know?
Yeah.
We all know you're dying. We're all here watching this happen and you don't care. Like you only care about yourself. But you've loved me until you started dying.
Hmm.
And can you say that when you leave or when I leave,
You
would you love
even
me
have the
like
guts
yeah,
to
would
say
you be able to say that you don't love me
I
anymore? Like
don't
that's something
love
that you're
you
able to do, you know?
like I
And it's
loved
like
you?
that's exactly how I feel. It's like it's more. I think I'm with the other side of it just because I
Okay.
think it's not as much like a breakup song in the way like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm leaving you. It's more like you aren't being honest with yourself or me,
Yeah.
kind of thing in my mind. So it's
I've
like, I just need you
yeah.
to be, yeah.
I've always just seen it as him being like trying to make them not care as much. But it's all, interpretation. I don't know.
Well, you can.
But anyway, Death responds to this song with track 8, This Is How I Disappear. Shout out Victims. They did a great cover of this. Death is mocking the victim for being alone after how he treated the people close to him while dying with lines like, I'm just a ghost, so I can't hurt you anymore, to the point where Death gets so worked up towards the end of the song about how annoying the patient is being about this. He loses his shit, sort of reminding me of how Hades does in Hercules when
His
the
head turns.
when his
Yeah,
flames like go hard
yeah.
with this really heavy breakdown. And I have it in my notes. I really wish we could have the audio on this because in my head I see the like hyena song in The Lion King, but with the Black Parade marching like right to left on those craggy cliffs when the hyenas are all jumping around with the green fire everywhere. And I see Death just front and center, angry little eye holes in his skull, screaming into an old condenser mic. You want to see how far down I can sink? Let me go, fuck. Like, it's so good. The next song is track 9, Disenchanted. And this is the first time we get something genuine from the patient. This is where instead of seeking judgment from his life, he's actually accepting his death. With lines like, "You're just a sad song with nothing to say about a lifelong wait for a hospital stay," meaning it took getting hospitalized to realize how valuable your life was, and that's okay because now that he's disenchanted with it all, after losing his loved ones to his brashness and thinking he was deserving of life, when he realizes he never actually appreciated it, with lines like, "I hate the ending myself, but it started with an alright scene," he's finally ready to go. This goes into track 10, Mama. This song is so fucking good. It's tied top. I can't put this over
This is
Sleep
my
or
favorite.
Not.
This is
It's
my
back
favorite
and
song.
forth always. I have goosebumps thinking
This is
about
my
this.
favorite song.
So this song goes into Death's backstory after being worked up from This Is How I Disappear, and I picture Death walking through a war-torn 1910s bombed-out Europe kind of alleyway, hands in his pockets, with Allied planes flying above, quietly saying to himself, "Mama, we're all gonna die. Mama, we're all gonna die. I'm writing this letter and wishing you well. Mama, we all go to hell." And this song is the backstory of the character of Death, who I don't think is the Grim Reaper. I think he's just the leader of the Black Parade. I don't think he's like the actual taker of lives in a way. The sonograph and the sounds of bombs falling in the beginning of the song leads me to believe so. But anyway, Death was a soldier in World War I, and he was also just a young, pissed person because he didn't ask to be in this war, and also rebelling in his own way. Just reliving the anger he felt at the time, when at the end of the song we hear the air raid sirens, and Death is calling out for his mama, and this insane breakdown that leads into silence as Death dies when his mom responds, "And if you would call me your sweetheart, I'd maybe sing you a song," to which Death responds in anger of being born, "But there's shit that I've done with this fuck of a gun, you would cry out your eyes all along. We're damned after all. Through fortune and flame we fall." Which, this chant between the Black Parade leads me to believe that the Black Parade is not only his troop, but also this is Death realizing the patient is really just a kid, and he was too angry for the way he had to die. So young, and he has this new understanding for the patient and tells him, "We'll go through this death thing together once you join the Black Parade." And this is tied for my favorite song, which I've said 10 times, which is the next song, but the theatrics in this song specifically just never get old. Track 11 is Sleep. Also, to reiterate that the intro is Gerard Way recounting his night terrors from the haunted house they lived in to record this masterpiece. There are these terrors, and it's like, it feels as if someone was gripping my throat. The way that this is cut and edited is so haunting with the piano, but this is the beginning of the resolution of Disenchanted, where the patient is like, "Okay, let's do this. I'm dying alone because I've been a dick my whole life. I'm not worthy to get into heaven. It's fine. I don't want to go there anyway," until the end of the song with the breakdown, and you can hear the parade screaming at the patient to wake up, presumably meaning, "Please don't sleep. Don't join the parade. Please live," as he's finally approaching their realm. And with Death's new understanding of the value of life, the patient gives him what he wants. The value of life, the patient gave him what he wants, the patient to carry on, which leads to, I don't know how I wrote that, so fucking weird. Track 12, Famous Last Words. The final track of the album. This is where the patient confronts Death, and they begin their argument. "Now I know that I can't make you stay, but where's your heart? And I know there's nothing I can say to change that part." Is Death saying, "I can't make this decision for you, but think about it." The patient is explaining he's no longer afraid to die, and he's finally accepted it. "Well, is it hard understanding I'm incomplete? A life that's so demanding, I get so weak. A love that's so demanding, I can't speak." And this song actually has two versions. I don't know if you knew that. The album version and the radio/music video version. The radio and music video are the same. And either of these endings complete the story. Basically, the radio/music version is if that's the only song you heard from this story. if the whole story isn't told, then the patient would just die without going through the process of acceptance and resolution. Then that's what that would be. But the album ending has a choir ending. The radio version has a heavy metal ending. The choir version implies the patient actually does go to heaven, and the metal version implies the patient has gone to hell for never repenting and acknowledging his life. Following the album version of events lead us into the final true ending, which is track 13, Welcome to the Black Parade. I have a hot take about this. I'm probably going to get some shit, but this song is way better than Bohemian Rhapsody. Just going to say it.
Just gonna say it right now.
I'm just going to say it. I don't give a shit.
Freddie
You're wrong
Mercury
if you...
ain't got shit.
Really? Bohemian Rhapsody is a great song. Welcome to the Black Parade is the same thing with, what is it? Deadshot in the Suicide Squad movie, and John Cena. It's like, he does the same thing I do. Yeah, but better. That's literally that meme. Yeah. This also was inspired from when Gerard and Mikey, their dad, took them to the Macy's Day Parade when they were little. Oh. They took them to the city to see a marching band. Okay. In the physical CD album notes, it said that death comes to you as your fondest memory. When the patient was a young boy, his father took him into the city to see a marching band. The reason death didn't come to him in the form of a soldier or a Grim Reaper even is because the Black Parade has been his fondest memory coming to take him into the afterlife. This song is fronted by the patient, backed by death, on the reprise of When I Was a Young Boy, My Father Took Me into the City to See a Marching Band. You can hear Gerard Way's double-back vocals. One's cleaner and one's more raw, more of a yell, especially the second time he sings it. This is both of the main characters singing together, fronting the Black Parade. Sometimes I get the feeling she's watching over me is a callback to Mama for death and him accepting her. And by the end of the music video, we see the parade stop the march to allow the patient to walk ahead of them to the snare drum in respect for his passing into the next life. And that's the story of the Black Parade.
It just makes me happy, bro. This makes me happy.
Shout out to Wendigoon for that. He has an awesome video, and his video has more video evidence on all of this stuff.
So like for my interpretation of the story has always been just like I've never looked into the story beyond knowing that what it's about. Like, I know there's like these multiple points of views and all these things. I've known all these things about the story before, and always loved the album without needing to know the full
lore.
The full lore. Yeah, I never needed the full lore of the album.
Yeah.
But
you can definitely listen to each of these songs individually and get something from them.
Yeah, but then when I started really listening to the album over and over and over again, back to back, like on the actual full album like rundown, I'm like, jeez Louise, man, this is special. Like, oh my god, because it's like like the whole thing is that these aren't isolated songs. Like that's like you were saying with the Famous Last Words, like the reason that there's a difference between the radio and the music video and the album version is because
you haven't listened to the album yet.
You don't know the story. You don't know what is happening. And I think it's what's also interesting is even if you listen to if you listen to the whole album and replace the ending with the radio version, I think you could still feel like deserved. Like it still feels like he does deserve that, because like even in repenting, it's not enough. And the Black Parade being the end of the album thematically, or like thematically the end of the album, but it's the 5th song. Yeah,
it's not even the intro though, which is also weird. No, the original track listing is pretty interesting, and I have it like memorized.
Yeah, and but the Black Parade being the 5th song, so I think it's by this point, it's like kind of Pulp Fiction-esque in terms of the storytelling. When you go through the album now, where you're like getting bits and pieces of what's happening, and I think for me, learning about the story and then listening to the album again with the full story and context in my head, it restructures the whole album to be way more tragic
Yeah.
than it was the first like times I listened to it. Because before it's like, yeah, I know it's not happy. I know
Yeah.
it's not happy. But when you get to the Black Parade and like the fifth song is the last thing that happens,
Yeah.
and it's the acceptance of I'm dead now. Like I don't. That is the fifth song. So everything after this, is leading to death, and this battle he goes through, and like right after what the Black Parade is, I don't love you. So right there that he's already accepted death. He's moving on,
Yeah.
and right after that is a conversation between him and his partner. If you're saying that he's telling someone else that trying to separate himself from somebody else, or if you think the partner's telling them like you're not strong enough to even say this to me, like you don't even believe what you're saying,
Yeah.
or or like I don't want to be with someone who's dying, whatever that is, that happening right after again
Black Parade.
like right after this
Bohemian Rhapsody.
masterpiece,
But
yeah,
better.
Bohemian Rhapsody, a better version of Bohemian Rhapsody. Right after that is like, oh my god, like it just hits
Yeah.
so hard. I think another part you're talking about is with Mama being like one of your favorite songs. It is by far my favorite
It's
song.
a Disney
It's
song. Like
it's
I can see
so
this whole
good.
album.
I
Like
can
it's
see
so
that.
good. But
Yeah,
that song
visually,
specifically is
yeah, it's so good. I think that my thing, like I'm a very I like the sound of things a lot more than
the
the
visual.
lyrics of most the lyrics of
Oh
most
yeah.
most pieces of art.
Yeah.
Um, and sonically, Mama is just a different beast,
Yeah.
just a different animal, because it's so like dense.
Yeah. So I think like the patient is kind of like a timeless person, and I think
Yeah,
death is definitely placed in World War One.
and I think that I think that the best part about that for me, like with that whole the death is a figurehead in time. Um, I've seen World War One or World War Two for both of them, so I don't really. I'm gonna
Yeah.
follow your
I think it's World War One
lore
because
'cause-
of the sonogram.
yeah, and
The audio
so
quality is like
yeah,
specifically before.
it's
Yeah.
closer to like that 20s like sound
Yeah.
kind of type thing. So
And the
I can get
accordion isn't
behind
really
that.
a World War Two instrument. World War
Yeah,
One is closer to like the turn of the century.
yeah. So but like that whole moment is because it's like again like we know that My Chemical Romance is inspired by 9/11 and like the
Yeah.
death, like just in war, like that is very much present in their music in general.
Yeah.
And the figure of death being like a soldier, and a soldier that has no pity, like he doesn't care that you're dying, because he's already experienced what it's like, and he's like, like, I don't care. I don't care that you get to go through these things. I
Yeah.
don't care that you're experiencing these emotions that I've felt before, because these I know from my own things that these don't matter.
Yeah.
Like you're going to die no matter what. You're coming with me no matter what. Like no matter what you do, heaven or hell, I'm going to be there with you.
Yeah.
I don't care. And so you're listening to like that whole thing, and then you get the backstory of death of this character who doesn't care. He's like, I don't care, I don't care. You're nothing. I'm making fun of you. You're not. And then it's just heart wrenching
Yeah.
for this character. You're like,
It is.
oh my god.
Yeah. Death
Um,
personified is crazy.
yeah, and there's like there's parts of like the people I've read with Mama that as the song is like that, like yeah, like you're saying, like it's his backstory, but it's also like he's calling for his mother, or he's even just saying like he's cursing this figure,
Yeah.
and it's like what is real to him in this moment, and I think that's why I like the album so much too, is because it caps like it takes this really hard concept to understand, gives their perspective on that thing without taking away how insane that concept is to deliver.
Mhm.
And I think that's why Mama's my favorite song is because you're personifying death as a character, and then you're making death experience the terror of death without giving him any ability to, like, he can't express that.
Yeah.
Is he yelling at his mom? Is he calling for his mom? Is he too scared of war? Is he fighting because he has to? Is he happy to be there? Is he excited to die? What is he actually going through? What are the emotions he has? And it's all of that in
Yeah.
4 minutes. Um, and that's not even like a lead single or lead track from the album. It's just in there
It's just a
to
banger.
give you. It's just like this is
Yeah.
this is it, man.
It's like the
That's why
most
I was saying, I was like,
produced song on the album, I think, other than maybe "Welcome to the Black Parade."
yeah, and that's why I was saying, it's like that's why it's my favorite song because it encapsulates the theme of the album. I think the most, even though it's the least like.
I think "Mama" and
It-
"Sleep" both equally
Yeah.
like encapsulate the album, and it's
Yeah.
funny because like there's two characters, and "Mama" is a death song, and "Sleep" is a patient
Yeah.
song. They
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
equally get the album concept across.
And it's beautiful every single time. I think I've listened to Mom probably the most of any song on the album for sure.
Yeah,
More than Black Parade even.
I like
I'd
don't
say.
listen to the "Welcome to the Black Parade" that
I
often.
I listen to it when I listen to the album as
Yeah.
a whole, but
I
like
don't.
the songs I have in here in playlists, I think I have Dead,
Yeah,
Mama, and I Don't Love You.
and "Dead" I
Sleep.
like have more of a memory of Guitar Hero 2 with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like I don't know. There's moments in the whole album that I'm like, this is why I feel so strongly about this album.
Yeah,
In what was it? I have to think of it real quick. In This Is How I Disappear, just the beginning of that song, like the 3 count with the hi hat,
yeah.
like Like-
Yeah.
it's like in my stomach. I feel it. I'm like, oh my god, every time. Yeah, and it's like my thing, yeah. Oh, and the way that the track list works, those first 3 songs, it's because it goes The End, Dead, then How I Disappear.
Yeah.
Those first 3 songs flow perfect.
They
They're
do.
so good.
The End and Dead
Uh,
are like the same song.
Yeah. So, like, but then it's just like you get this theatrical performance from Death, and then it's just like,
Yeah.
and then this hard, long guitar coming in. And you're like, okay, yeah. I love this album, man. I really do. Everything I keep looking. I'm smiling.
I know.
Looking
I've
at the
listened
track
to it
list.
so many times this week, and have not gotten like over it. I've listened to this album for fucking 20 years almost.
20 years,
It's been 19
Yeah.
years. Like,
and I've every time I listen to it, it's like the first time I listen to the album, and I feel like I'm just always encapsulated. I've never listened to the album. I haven't skipped a single song on a single listen.
yeah.
And I never listened to the album without finishing it. Even if I was driving somewhere and the album's like I had to get out of my car, I'd put my headphones on and finish the album and then do whatever I was doing
Yeah.
after. Like it's one of those things where it's
I just did
it's
that at
like
work
sacred.
the other day.
Like it's like sacred at a certain point. Like I need the
When
conclusion of
you
it.
brought this up the other day to do this episode on it, I've been more excited to do this one than the last one we did. And the last one we did, I fucking love. Like, I don't want to say the title because I don't know the order of what's coming, but the last one that we recorded,
Yeah.
I love that topic. And I've been like,
Yeah.
I've been like buzzing over doing the Black Parade. This is like exactly what I want this podcast to be like because this is just shit that we genuinely love, and it's so easy to talk about this type of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just one of those like I don't know. And then it's one of those things too. Is like there's so many memories I have with the album,
Yeah.
but it's so beyond just a memory I have associated with it. Like it's not just like, oh, this is a time in which I listen to this album. I don't get transported back in time. It's like, no, this is something that it's part of my being now. Like,
yeah,
I
it
like
literally
part of my
defined who I
existence
would
is
be. Yeah,
like I cannot be myself without acknowledging that this album is an integral part of that. And it's just funny that like it's this album that's like like My Chemical Romance has this like not negative connotation, but they have like a association with 2000s emo kids and scene kids, like
Yeah.
with the hair flip and tight jeans and all these things. And like everyone I know who listens to this album and loves this album is not the same person. Like they're
Yeah.
not, there's no one I've talked to who looks the exact same and understands how great this album is.
Yeah.
Though like it's not like a genre specific or person specific. Like, I think anybody who really genuinely gives this album a real listen and wants to like sit with it and
Yeah.
really go into why it's so good, like
I
it
think
just
it's
stays with you.
I think it's one of the most influential albums of the past 20 years. Like
Yeah.
since the year 2000, I think this is like the most important album.
Yeah, and
I
I don't
can't
even
think of anything I'd put higher than this.
and it's one of those things too where it's like I don't think not even that that's just an influential like sonically or whatever. Like I think that there's a lot of people who took influence from this album to build their career off of like, oh,
Yeah.
I could do these insane sounds and still keep within this realm of whatever I'm doing kind of thing. I think more so it's one of those things where it's like you as a musical artist, before anything else, you're still creating art. Like this is supposed to stay with people.
Yeah.
And so when people are really locking in and they're like, "Oh yeah, my one of my inspirations for this album was like the Black Parade," I kind of sit up in my chair and I'm like, "Okay,
All right.
all
Let's
right,
see what you yeah, let's see
let's
what
see
you
what
can
you do here."
Yeah.
And it's usually like something that's really heartfelt. And again, like I was saying earlier, Blonde is one of my favorite albums like ever. When I listen to Blonde, I listen to Black Parade, I can see so much of the same things.
Yeah.
Um,
And maybe not
like
even strictly just the artists, producers even have taken
yeah,
inspiration from how it
um,
is.
like the my favorite song on Blonde is Pretty Sweet. It's you know that song. It's the one where he starts out and it's like all that loud banging noises and
Yeah.
then it goes into that core like the choir like that children's choir and then he just starts screaming.
Yeah.
Like that moment on that album is so similar to me to like five moments on Black Parade where I'm like, oh, this is just so much to like feel at one time, and it expresses that feeling of it's everything without saying, "Oh, I'm experiencing everything."
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. It's like when you sit there and you have this, it's like you sit there with these things. It's like, oh my god, like this is what art really is. Like this is really art. It's really beautiful, and it just stays with you forever.
It's a
And like I
beautiful
said
thing.
before, beautiful thing, isn't it?
It's a beautiful
Um,
thing, man.
yeah, and so yeah, that's what I mean. Is like this is one of those albums that I've listened to so many times, and every time I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, no, like I wouldn't change a single thing about this.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anything I'd want differently from anything about this, and I just like I don't know. I feel like it frustrates me when people don't understand how
I don't
incredible
see how you
something
couldn't
like this
like it.
is. Yeah, and I think it's just you'd have it listen to this project. It's like
And
I don't get it.
I don't
I
even
don't.
think you like I don't think it's one of those things where oh you just had to be there in 2006 to get it.
No, no,
It's a
like
timeless album.
I feel way more connected to this album when I listened to it when I was 19 than I did when
Yeah.
I was 6. And not because like oh I remembered how I was when I was 6 years old listening to this album. It's like no, I just felt like when I was 19 years old I needed to listen to this album. I needed to have these emotions that I'm having, and it wasn't because like the album's about dying. I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
It was like oh I
And
need something that expresses so
that's
much emotion.
that's what it does is like if you follow the story, the point isn't like to die or kill yourself. The last song, Famous Last Words, is like the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, it's
And
being
even
it's
Welcome
very
to the Black Parade, it ends with like we'll carry on. Like
yeah it's somehow very like it deals with like some of the hardest emotions you can have, but it's so cheerful in some
it
ways.
like
Like
brings
it's
you
so
through
like
them.
yeah, it's like very therapeutic in that way where it wants you to get to something where you feel better about
Yeah.
why you like it's
It like
guiding you
meets you
to
at the
under
low and then
yeah
brings you back up.
Yeah, and it's guiding you through these emotions that you're having, so you don't feel like alone, or you don't feel like, oh, like I think for me, with when I was talking about I was like 19, it's like I've had these super strong emotions that I don't understand,
Yeah.
and no one can understand them. And then I'm listening to these songs where the people in the song, they don't understand the emotions they're having, but there's still this like it'll be all right moments in them where it's like, oh, even when Death's making fun of the patient,
Yeah.
Death is still making fun of the patient because he's like, I've experienced this before. You'll be all right,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what I really, really love about it. It's just so much more than just an album to me and to like so many people. It's just like some one of those things that, oh, oh,
Definitely.
I just, every
I
time,
know.
bro. I can't even like express genuinely how much. And then we didn't talk about the bonus track,
Yeah, Blood.
Blood,
Yeah.
and
How fun
the
that is. I remember because like now on Spotify or streaming, it just is a track, but it used to be you have to wait like 90 seconds after famous last words of silence, and then
yeah.
it would
My
play.
favorite thing my favorite thing they did though is that the first 90 seconds of Blood on the Spotify list is still just silence.
Oh, is it? That's
Yeah, so
funny.
you have to wait the full time. If
That's
you're gonna
good.
listen to the album the real way,
Yeah.
Spotify does not let you cut through that. It just says, no, you this is
This
what
is
they
the
did back
album.
then.
Yeah.
They got this
What'd
is
you
how
know
you
about
gotta do
this?
it.
What'd you know about
Yeah,
this?
and I also really like that they didn't just add the 90 seconds on the famous last words. They were like, no, we're
Yeah.
gonna make it its own track, and you're gonna wait that 90 seconds, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna be some cartoon ass character talking about blood.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's just like, ugh, I just love the album so much. I don't really know any lore about that song
I think that
particularly.
song is the patient being sarcastic about his time in the hospital. He's like,
Yeah,
blood, blood, gallons of the stuff. Give them all that they could drink, and it would never be enough. I give them blood, blood, blood.
yeah. Um, I'm gonna look into that more later because I was like I saw stuff about it. I was like it's whatever, but it's like it's just one of those songs you're like okay, whew, that was a lot to deal with. Then it's
Yeah,
just like this guy being goofy at the end of it, and you're like okay,
yeah. It
so it's
probably is just them being goofy. Honestly, it's probably outside of the story, but that's how I see
mhm.
it as the patient being a sarcastic dick while he's still in the
Yeah,
hospital.
he's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Um,
Is there anything else you got on Black Parade?
not really. Not
I
really
know.
like
It's
about
just all feelings,
anything.
man. I feel you.
It's just
I
like
have so many feelings about this album. It definitely
exactly.
is why I'm the way I am, and it's all thanks to
Yeah,
Candace.
yeah. Shout out Candace.
Shout out Candace. I was a little emo kid, and you gave me what I needed.
Yeah, and it's like it just makes me like I just like genuinely have so much like happiness thinking about this album. Like it's so funny how tragic and sad the album is, but like how good I feel when I listen to it. Like it's like again, like the same way I listen to Blonde, I'm like, oh, I'm listening to Blonde. It's
Yeah.
just sad. Like, or the breakup sad album. Like, you just don't understand how nice it is to hear emotions you've had before, delivered
Yeah.
so well.
You just kind of put a thought in my head too. Is like when I've watched My Chemical Romance live, he's always like, put your hands up, sing along. I don't want to sing. I want you to sing. I want you right there, little guy in the Slayer T-shirt. What can you like? Do you know the words? Like, let's go. And then I think of Bring Me the Horizon, and he's like, all right, you fucking losers. I want you to fucking kill each other right now. I want to see someone fucking die. And then
Yeah.
Gerard Way's like, we're all in this, dude. We're all together. We're
Yeah,
all
we're all
friends.
together. We're all friends
We're all gonna
here.
die, and it's okay because we're alive right
It's o-
now.
yeah, yeah,
And
it's
Ali
cool, dude.
Sykes is just like, you're a fucking loser. um, all right, let's wrap this up. I got
Yeah.
one more little announcement I made at the beginning. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, Amazon Music / Audible, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, Podchaser, Boomplay, TikTok, and Instagram. I am your host, as always, Brian, aka Chainsaw FM, and this is my wonderful co-host,
AJ and Apricot FM on Instagram, TikTok, and so on.
So on
But,
and so forth,
on.
and we will carry on.
Hell yeah.